I'm searching. I'm looking, I'm searching. I'm looking for someone to give about me.
I'm Sista Afrika. We're here live. Listen, this is a special one today, family. I'm here with none other than the Prince of Pan-Africanism, the Dr. Umar Johnson.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, family. Glad to be here.
How you feeling today in Chicago, and what brought you to Chicago this weekend?
I'm doing well, Queen. I was here for the coronation program that was put on this past weekend at DeSable and Karain Center. You were a big part of that, and it was a wonderful experience.
Speaking of wonderful experiences, we met some almost 20 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Because my oldest son is almost 30.
Wow.
And I have been just amazed at the work that you have done, and I've been following you along with so many others. Tell us, how did you get into the work that you do for those who may not know?
My work began in elementary school. In the 3rd grade, living in North Carolina with my parents, who were married at the time. I decided I wanted to be a clinical psychologist. They later divorced. We end back up in North Philadelphia, which is where I was born and raised. And my elementary school had a Black history class that they made us attend in the 4th and 5th grade. That was my introduction into Black consciousness. And during that class, there was a February Black History Month public speaking contest, which I entered in both years, won both times first place, and I never shut up then. So for me, it began early in life at the age of 9.
Wow. This is why education is so very important. Now, you do a lot around building schools and changing the mindset.
Yes.
Talk about that from a psychological perspective, please.
Well, you know, from a psychological perspective, we have a big war in front of us as it relates to getting African people to take institution building seriously. Many of our people do not want to think about building their own institutions. We just want to cherry pick off of white people for the rest of our lives while we spend our money on pleasure and appearances. We're going to have to transform that. Half of the solutions are institutions. Let me say that again. Half of the solutions are institutions. Hospitals, if you go to them, they can kill you. Supermarket, you go to them, they can feed you poison. Schools, if you go to them, they can brainwash your children. Banks, if you go to them, you'll never get the loan or the credit line you need to build your own industries. So we have to get serious about building institutions. Yes, we got to fight racism. That's never going to stop. But we got to have our own systems, our own services, and our own institutions to serve our people.
Ashe. You know, one of my hashtags is we are our own solution. And I say that because I believe wholeheartedly that everything we need, literally, figuratively, comes from us. I think that when we pull it together and we understand that and we really love each other a little bit more, we can see better results. Speak to that, because you are providing so many solutions.
That's a great point. You know, it brings to mind the image of the scarab beetle in Nile Valley culture, Kepara. And the scarab is a beetle that rolls its eggs in the filth of the earth. And from that filth, you get the most beautiful thing that the Creator ever manifested, and that's life. And the meaning in that is everything is reusable. Everything is recyclable. To your point, everything we need is already in the community. Community is the solution.
Community is the solution. In closing, Dr. Johnson, I want to say thank you again. You know, like I said before, we've known each other a very long time. I remember years ago coming, you know, to get you from the airport. Now you are flying around the country every week, every day, providing solutions, solid solutions.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we really pull it together for our families? I have never seen our families like this. Last week, there was a young sister outside. We had a 94-degree day in Chicago, and she literally had on no clothes. And she was walking as if she had on clothes.
Wow.
So psychologically, I wasn't sure if she had just been released from an institution or if she thought that was okay. What is it that we need to do? Because that wasn't the only person I saw that day like that.
One of the biggest side effects of desegregation was the collapse of Black infrastructure. We are the pioneers of the social work profession, believe it or not. Richard Arlen and Absalom Jones in Philadelphia back in the 1700s, they created the Free African Society, which was a social uplift organization for Black people. When I look at one of my Pan-Africanist grandfathers, Bishop Alexander Crummell, he did a lot of work around social work and can be considered the father of black social work, which was all about providing black people with the services that they needed. We once had our own social work infrastructure, but with desegregation, we gave up the business of taking care of our own, and we turned that over to the white power structure, and you see what the results are. Again, we got to go back to institutions, and we have to rebuild black infrastructure because we are completely dependent on white people for our existence. And in the words of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, he said, a people who depends upon another for their survival sooner or later dies.
Woo! Wow. How can people find you?
They can find me, I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, Dr. Umar Johnson or Dr. Umar Ifatunde. If they need to reach out to me, they can do so, 215-989-9858. Again, that's 215-989-9858. Certified school psychologist is my expertise. If there's black parents in Chicago or anywhere else who need some help as it relates to working with their autistic children, their ADHD children, their learning disabled children, their blind, deaf, physically challenged, socially challenged, emotionally disturbed children, feel free to reach out to me.
And where are we with the school? Is there anything that's needed for those that want to pour into you and your ministry?
Well, we can always use the donations. Please hit your Cash App, $FDMG School. That's $FDMG School. Also the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. But if you're going to donate, go to my website or my social media to make sure you're donating to the right link, because there's about 30 fraudulent links for the FDMG Academy on both Cash App and PayPal. So please be careful, or text my phone for the link, 215-989-9858.
Thank you so much. I'm here live with the Dr. Umar Johnson, live with Sista Afrika.